For sure. And this is a question that was commonly asked. I asked on Twitter for questions what they would like to ask you if they were speaking with you one on one. And a great question, I think a great frame for how to, analyze the stage of this bull market is if this bull market were a baseball game, what inning do you think we're currently in?
That's a good question. I would guess that we're probably in the eighth inning of the bull market. But again, I know it's going to be repeatedly said, but the bottom line is, I don't mean to say it over and over again, but there are a lot of stocks that aren't waiting for the game to be over. Their game is over. So on a macro basis, I would say you're probably in the eighth inning, and it shows in a lot of different ways. People make the market so much more difficult it has to be. It's never a guarantee. I don't be a wise guy, but if you take a look, when did we have the last new high in the NYSE advanced decline line? If memory serves me right, it was October 16th. Hey, we're a month almost past that. And meanwhile, you've seen the S&P and the Dow and so many indexes make new highs. This is a classic sign going back over the years that you got to be a little bit more careful because you're losing momentum on the upside.
Perfect. And you mentioned advanced decline line a bit earlier. In terms of market breadth, anything you want to add there? Because a lot of people were curious about your thoughts on, the participation, the breadth, all of that in terms of how you view the markets.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. What we just covered, the fact that breadth is narrowing down, it isn't like, oh, that's a major sell signal, but it is a warning. So it tells us two things. One, from a market point of view, it says be a little bit more selective and careful here because you are, starting to lag. And secondly, from a personal tactical point of view, it's telling you, hey, you should always be disciplined, but you know what? Now you've got to be even more selective and disciplined.
Perfect. And we mentioned crypto. What other groups and themes do you think are the strongest right now, and you're personally focused on towards the long side?
Right. Well, first of all, I know you read the letter, I've had a lot of software stocks. And this is,
Yeah.
again, in a way, even though it's somewhat frustrating, we all have egos, and I don't mean to be overly egocentric, but I think this is the beauty. Most, especially the fundamentalists, can handle what's going on. But if you take a look, even within technology, software, not 100%, but a lot of my software stocks are still rocking and rolling. At the same time, going into the same area, you see a lot of the semiconductor stocks are dragging big time, and some of which are by my sell list, they're going down with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So you can't even just say anymore technology. You have to go and say, fine, semis I don't want to do,